Hey guys, I have a super exciting video today. Bath & Body Works actually reached out to me and said, you know what, we want to show our appreciation for you for being such a loyal and passionate fan for over 10 years of all our candles and our products, and for cultivating such a passionate community of other fellow candle enthusiasts that they want to fly me out to Atlanta to give me an all expenses paid trip to check out the new exciting test candles that are previewing for Spring 3 at Bath & Body Works. And they could let me choose all the candles that I want and pay for my hotel room and flight and everything, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, this seems like a dream come true, because like Bath & Body Works snubs me all the time, completely ignored. You know what, I'm fine with that because I enjoy doing the candles anyways. And so I was like, girl, you know I will go out there and get all the test candles and report about it and talk about it here on YouTube, and that is exactly what did not happen, because that is all a joke. I do, however, have a massive test candle haul from Indeed Atlanta, but I did pay for the lodging and the travel and the candles all myself. But once again, I'm still very happy to do it because I am truly and genuinely excited about candles and home fragrance and being part of a fun, very passionate candle community. So, of course, that brand trip did not exist. That was all a joke, but we will get right into the test candles right now. So yeah, let's see. Wow, there's so much stuff. I think this is going to be a two-part video, so make sure you check out part 2 after this video is done, whenever that gets posted. But basically, I went because spring is my favorite season at Bath & Body Works, and I wanted to check out all the new spring candles, like basically a month ahead of when they actually launch. And then I also went on behalf of a friend who also wanted many candles. So this is actually a combination of candles that I got for myself, but there's a few ones that I'll talk about that I didn't get personally, but the friend wanted, so that will also be in here as well. And we'll get right into it. I think this video is going to be... I think all the Spring 3 stuff that we're pretty positive is going to come out later in the like March into April time frame. So like product photos of these have been lingering around for a while now, that we're pretty confident that these are going to be out. They're also already printed on the home fragrance guides that the sales associates get. So the stuff in this video is pretty confidently going to come out. They'll just obviously not come out until March, April. If you don't know what test stores are, go to candlereviewer.com and you'll find an article post about all the test candle action, all the stores, the locations, all that kind of stuff. But in any case, and then in part 2, there was actually like a surprise drop of candles that came out that look like this. It's like a neutrals collection, and the receipt even rings them up as WBTST, which I could assume is White Barn Test. So I think there's 6 candles in a new neutrals collection with a little bit more out-of-the-box fragrances that I think are, the speculation that those are actually a true test line rather than an early preview. And so we do not know the fate of those candles, whether or not they will make it wide, or if they will, they might eventually go wide at some point later on in a possibly different packaging or what have you. But I think those 6 are tests. So that will be the part 2 video, so make sure you check that out. But we'll get into the Spring 3 preview stuff right now. Let me go into, I guess, all the springy stuff, and then there's like that whole Amalfi like destinations collection, and then lastly we'll have like a little bit of tropical stuff at the very end of this video. So yes, the first one we have is Flower Cart right here, and that's what that looks like. And it is a wraparound on there, and there is that top on there as well. Let's see, floral bouquets, fresh cut stems, and lush greenery. This has the thick rope-like wicks on it. Because this has the fancy glass lids on it, these are $32.95 now. The promo that was going off was 10 off all 3 wicks, plus there was that like President's Day 20% off one day only barcode coupon that you could use. So like it still made these like 18 bucks, but I was like, you know what, this is the one that I really want, so let me just get this. It's probably more wise for you to wait until like there's like equalizer sale where like all candles are $13.95 and then use a coupon on top of that to snag these instead of doing a 10 off. But yes, this is the same, like I think we got these like, was it like Fresh Winter Air or whatever, and Peach on Earth, as well as like that Ice Blueberry Biscotti, Sugared Pomegranate, that collection as well. It's the same glass lid as that. Unfortunately, the majority of these were like super loose in store. Like they would just like literally fly off, and like when you were handling them, it was so scary because like they're stacked, so they would like slide on top of each other, plus the lids were loose. Oh my god, it's just like a recipe for disaster. It was so scary. I like managed to find like a very few where the lid actually fits snug on them. But in any case, yes, floral bouquets, fresh cut stems, and lush greenery. This smells great. At first, I thought this was going to be like, you know, this is just going to be Flower Shop again. We also had, I think it was called Garden Bouquet. We also had a Garden Party previously. It is not. I think this is a new fragrance altogether. What you get first what hits you is like that kind of like fresh cut greenery fragrance that you get from like flower shop, like fresh cut grass or fresh bamboo. That type of greenery note is in there, but then afterwards, boy, does a very like more of a mature floral like perfumey aspect gets shoved in there. Kind of like think of your like gardenia jasmine, heavy white perfumey floral is mixed in with a fresh cut green grass type of fragrance to it. But I thought this was going to be more fresh cut green and less like heady perfumey floral, but it is actually quite heady perfumey floral mixed with grassiness. So I enjoy that. It's quite nice. Yeah. If you like those very like, think of like kind of like a creamy 1 in a million or like Hello Beautiful type of that type of like a little bit more of a heady white floral. I get like almost like a plumeria, gardenia, jasmine type of like white fresh bloom is what I get with it mixed with a grassiness. So I do enjoy that. So flower cart right there. And then the friend requested Spring Clementine, and that's what that looks like right there. And then it has that lid on it. This is Sugared Clementine, Neroli Blossoms, and Sweet Amber. So when I saw Neroli Blossoms, I was kind of excited about this, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to actually come through. And sure enough, it is not. Yeah, this is just like a pretty standard and juicy, like orange candy type of fragrance. It also kind of reminds me of like peach Bellini. It kind of reminds me of like an orange peach drink candy fragrance. Also even like so sweet that it has like if you had like sugared peach rings as well as sugared orange rings, like the candy gummies, and you mix sugar in there. It's kind of like that too. It's quite sweet. It's just like a very juicy, straightforward orange fragrance. It is not fresh orange in my opinion, because that had more of this like chemical cleaner type of like abrasiveness to it that I didn't love, especially when you go to burn it. It got really chemically and synthetic and nasty. And it's, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like if you took like limoncello or like sugared lemon zest, but swap that with orange. It's kind of like sugared orange zest. That type of fragrance is what I get from it. I feel like we've had something very similar to this before. Like it's not Clementine Sherbet either, but it's very much like been there, done that. Kind of smells like every other sweet orange fragrance or sweet citrus fragrance that we've had before. So it's not super groundbreaking or unique, but perhaps the Neroli Blossoms and the Sweet Amber will like come forth a little bit more when you go to burn it, but that was what Spring Clementine smelled like. So of course, yeah, I did not have to pick this up, but the friend wanted it, so that was that. The other ones in that collection were Champagne Toast, Boring, and then Driftwood Waves actually came back, even though it tested last year in the White Barn like matte core jar with like Crisp Linen Breeze, and the other Blue Bungalow was in there. Driftwood Waves is finally making its wide appearance in that collection. That's kind of like this. I actually like that, but I didn't love it enough to have to buy it in an $18 fancy jar because I still have last year's version. It was kind of like this, it kind of reminds me of like a seafoam of vanilla fragrance. It's like this more earthy, sophisticated, incensey vanilla fragrance is kind of what I got from Driftwood Waves. It's nice, and it was my favorite of that bunch, but not so favorite that I need to get it again once in an expensive jar. So that was that collection. Moving on to like the other very traditionally springy stuff. There's Pink Peach Blossom right here, and this is what that looks like. So as you know, this is available in a pocket back and also hand soap as well. This is what the like pretty lid looks like on it, and that's what that looks like. This one is $24.95 because it is just like the lid in the clear jar in a label. Peach, Nectar, Magnolia, Petals, and Sweet Mandarin. My mom bought the hand soap of this, and we both used it, and we're like, oh my god, this smells great. It smells literally like there's a like Japanese flowers kiss candy that you can get like an Asian market, that because I am half Japanese myself, I like kind of grew up on that candy, and it's called Hara no Kuchizuke, which is basically like translates to flowers kiss. And that candy is like, they smell exactly alike. Like it's absolutely crazy. It's like spot on. It's like every time we burn this, we're just like, oh my god, it's Hara no Kuchizuke. But yeah. But it's like a very juicy peach candy. The more I smell this, the more I'm like, is this just honeysuckle peach spritz, which I have the wallflower in the bathroom going right now? They're very similar, because it even has that like sort of warm, buttery creaminess to it. But I don't think it's exactly honeysuckle peach spritz, but very similar to that. I couldn't compare the ILNs because this only comes out in a 3-wick in the thick rope-like wicks with the peach wax, whereas honeysuckle peach spritz came in core wicks with white wax last year. So usually when the wax and the wick formulation changes, the ILN changes as well, and there's no other product formats to compare and contrast the ILNs to. But Yeah, I'm like, wait, is this honeysuckle peach spritz? I don't know. They're very, very, very similar, but I mean, because this even has peach and like a floral note in it. But I wouldn't be, I think they might be slightly different. I don't know, but I'm not mad at it because I was really jonesing for honeysuckle peach spritz and I was mad that I didn't have a backup candle of it. But yeah, this smells just like the hand soap. It's like one of my favorite peaches from Bath & Body Works. You guys know I rag on Bath & Body Works peaches all the time, that it smells like rotten trash bag plastic peaches. And I never care for them. But this one has enough of like this like buttery juiciness mixed with a floral component, and it just smells like awesome, like just like a really peachy candy fragrance with a hint of a pretty floral that kind of takes the edge off of it being like too tart or too rotten like trash bag peaches. So yeah, I really enjoy this. My mom also wanted it, so I dropped it off at her house yesterday and she lit that one up immediately, and it was throwing like immediately. It was like strong in like a very large living room. So excited about this. So yeah, pink peach blossom right there. We also have the return of Ice Lemon Pound Cake. So Bath & Body Works seems to be straying away from bakery fragrances, which is crazy because I was like bread and butter for the longest time. But you'll see, especially in part 2, like these candles, like fragrances are not like the bakery ones and more of the experimental ones. So kind of crazy to finally see that shift happening at Bath & Body Works. But yeah, there was no like bake shop collection. So if you want anything bakery, like your one chance is going to be Ice Lemon Pound Cake did return, which I was happy about that because I really enjoyed this last year. It was a new fragrance last year and I loved it. This is sugary glazed icing, pure lemon zest, and fluffy pound cake and whipped cream. This comes in a yellow wax with thick rope-like wicks this year, and that's what that looks like. Amazing. Love this. I bought like 2 of these or 3 of these last year. It was excellent. Like it's an awesome, very authentic, juicy lemon pound cake fragrance. There's like a sugared, juicy vanilla glazing to it, mixed like a fluffy, bouncy pound cake like texture in there. It's just absolutely snatched. I love it. Yeah, so I was happy to see it in like this version, so we'll see how that goes. Strawberry Pound Cake is also in this packaging. I almost picked that up because I was like, this is so cute in this packaging, and like it smells just so sugary and awesome and sweet, but I might wait until the full release to pick that one up because I'm very busy with candles right now. So Ice Lemon Pound Cake right there. We also have Fresh Mint and Tea Tree, and I think a similar Tea Tree and Fresh Mint or something is in the single wick right now, and I believe those are the same fragrances, and so that's what that looks like right here. Super pretty. I love this collection. It's just very classic Bath & Body Works colored wax label and clear jar. Bright Spearmint, Tea Tree, and Rosemary. I love this. This is excellent. Contrary to what you might imagine, it is actually not the peaceful peppermint and tea tree aromatherapy that we had before. Similar, but this is so much less sweet. The tea tree has more of that like green, grassy, leafy feel to it that gives it a slight bitter quality that you associate with like if you ever smell like actual like tea tree products. It's like a pungent, kind of weird, funky green fragrance to it. This captures that more, and it's not as sweet and like creamy. This is a lot more sweet candy and creamy and sweet. This is kind of like borderline like gum, like a sweet gum type of fragrance, or even like toothpaste, but it's like toes the line of it being not too like weird toothpastey and just right, where it's like still sweet, creamy, and pleasant. And you just get like a really awesome like sweet spearmint fragrance. It's immensely similar to the sweet spearmint fragrance that came out in the Mixed Materials Test Collection when Wild Huckleberry and Rosewater and Ivy came out for the very first time. It's very similar to that. Actually, let me go grab that candle to see if it compares. So we have Sweet Spearmint right here. This was, I believe, a failed test scent. This is Garden Mint Leaves, Crystallized Sugar, and Creamy Vanilla. Mind you, I burned this one. It's pretty much done, so it's a little bit different. But no, I think they're actually slightly different. I mean, very sibling fragrances for sure. So if you missed out on Sweet Spearmint, yeah, I don't think it's the same fragrance. But very, very, very similar. Think of just like really sweet, creamy, like vanilla-infused spearmint gum or candy is kind of what this comes across as. Very refreshing and nice. I love it. So Fresh Mint and Tea Tree right there. The other ones in that collection were like Fresh Cut Lilacs, I believe, and then Strawberry Pound Cake. Oh, Blue Sky Breeze was in there as well, which came out last year, and I originally ragged on this, but I actually really ended up enjoying this one, and it's such a strong performer. Mountain Spring Air, Fresh Violet Leaves, Crisp Gala Apples, and English Ivy. It's like a clean, fresh, almost like a slightly laundry dryer sheets type of fragrance, but it's really nice actually. It's actually quite pleasant, and it comes in a really pretty blue label, so check that out if you're interested in that. I still have half of the original one left, so I did not need that. There's a whole like quotable collection for like Mother's Day with pink lilac and vanilla, which is always a great fragrance. Sugar lemonade, and I think white tea and sage was the other one. Didn't pick up any of those because those were all repeats. So I think that concludes the springy stuff. We'll then go into the like Amalfi Santorini collection, and then the tropical stuff. So the first one we have, this one was for a friend. I did not need it. It was fresh Amalfi lemon right here, and that's what that looks like. Lemon leaves, chilled spearmint, and cedarwood citrus. This is very similar to lemon mint leaf, but not as minty. Yeah, no, they're actually quite different when you compare them side by side. So we have lemon mint tea, which was pretty much a repackage of lemon mint leaf. Yeah, no, actually, now that you compare them, I mean, similar, because lemon mint leaf always had like a sugared lemon jelly beans quality to it. But this one is nowhere near as strong on the mint as lemon mint leaf was. It's just a lot juicier, zestier, sweeter, and more candy-like. This is also very candied. It's very similar to limoncello, aka sugar lemon zest, aka lemon drops. But it's like that, but a little less candy and artificial, and a little bit more like freshly squeezed sugared lemon juice mixed with the limoncello fragrance is what this comes off as. It's like the perfume had two variations of limoncello, and then one was limoncello and one was fresh Amalfi lemon, and they went with a slightly tweaked version for this. Like, immensely similar. It's just a very straightforward sugared, but like juicy, like freshly squeezed lemon fragrance is what I get from it. It's actually quite pleasant, but it's not super unique or intriguing, but I do enjoy the labels and the look of this collection for sure. So fresh Amalfi lemon right there. Next we have Capri Waves. Once again, this was a friend pickup and not one that I picked up. We have that right there. I'm telling you like which one's the friend picked up and which one I didn't. So like if you normally like gravitate towards my tastes or, you know, preferences, then this kind of like just informs you on like what did I bypass versus what did I pick up. So that's why I'm mentioning that. Sea salt, rich driftwood, and ocean air. Super cute label. I love that. Kind of boring. It kind of smells like a generic like laundry linen fragrance that we've had before. When I first smelled this, I was like, this just smells like a fresh air cologne fragrance. But the more I acquaint myself with it, it comes off very like laundry linen in like just the most like basic way possible. It's not super groundbreaking. It's kind of sweet, but oceany and fresh at the same time. It's not quite as harsh as Laundry Day. It's not so cottony or powdery either like some of the other ones. It's just like in the middle. I don't believe it's Crisp Linen Breeze. That was the failed test fragrance. Well, failed so far from that Driftwood Waves collection that I was talking about. I don't think it's that either. There's definitely like a floral component in there as well. It's just like the most basic, like clean, inoffensive, laundry, fresh, clean fragrance with a little bit of like aquatic, salty air vibe to it. Yeah, I don't, it's kind of unremarkable. So Capri Waves right there. We then have Riviera Petals, and that's what that looks like. This one's Rose Petals, White Tea Stem, and Fresh Geranium. So of course I was super excited about this because I love my rose fragrances, but then I saw geranium and I was like, I hope this isn't just that geranium and fern thing that we just got. And then I saw white tea stem and I'm like, well, first, what is a singular white tea stem? But then I was like, I hope it's not tea rose, but it isn't. This is a totally new fragrance, so I was excited about that. Yeah. This, I get the rose and geranium. It's like a nice blend of both rose and geranium where you still get that perfumey, powdery, feminine rose fragrance in there, but there's that little hint of crisp, like metallic geranium in there to give it like a fresh cut rose type of vibe to it. I think like if it didn't say geranium in there, I'd just be like, okay, this is a fresh variety of rose. So the rose and geranium kind of mix in there. And then I get like a, believe it or not, like a sugared raspberry or sugared berry fragrance. It reminds me of the Dark Velvet Oud candle from that test frag collection that we had and that geometric wraparound with peppered plum. It reminds me of like a less heavy, less perfumey, less dark, less sophisticated Dark Velvet Oud fragrance is what this really reminds me of. Like it borrows a very similar rose fragrance and a very similar sugary berry element mixed in there. And is it called Into the Night that has like that sort of raspberry and rose blend to it that Dark Velvet Oud was similar with? Once again, not as heavy as Into the Night either, but like similar pickups in terms of that sort of like sweet berry and sweet rose fragrance that you get. The white tea stem, I mean, it's just like fresh overall, but I like that there's still a like sort of sugary berry in there that makes it sort of cutesy and fun, that I enjoy it. It's a little bit more, it's like very like, kind of like body care roseberry fragrance to me, but still fresh. Yeah, I enjoy it. Riviera Petals right there. And lastly in the collection, we have Santorini Coast right here, and that's what that looks like. The notes on this read creamy coconut, almond blossom, and warm vanilla, which is super weird because that doesn't like really match up with the vibe that Santorini Coast would paint you. Like we had a Siege of Santorini fragrance before, which was like this, I think it got repackaged as fresh water and sea salt, which was like this salty water clean fragrance, but then like they totally switched gears and gave us something completely tropical by giving us coconut and vanilla. So kind of a mismatch there, but all right. It kind of like makes me wonder, like, did they have a different fragrance in mind for Santorini Coast? And last minute they're just like, oh, we need to give them like the basic coconuts. Let's just like shove that in there. I don't know, kind of weird. This is, oh my God, so immensely similar. I picked this up, but the friend also picked this up, and I was like, do I really need this? But I've been really on a coconut kick lately that I'm like, okay, let me go in with an open mind and see how this does. This is very, very similar to that toasted coconut fragrance that I absolutely hated from this collection. There was that, and it was in like that sort of like gray brown jar that we had. Toasted coconut from this collection. Oh my God, it is so immensely similar to that. Wow. And I hated that one because it was like the singed hair and like burnt coconut fragrance, and it was like sweetened by like a caramel. Like this is very much what this is. But I feel like the more you smell it, there's a slight like perfuminess that you get from their like traditional almond blossom fragrance. So almond blossom is like an online exclusive like body care fragrance that we get, which is like this very perfumey sandalwood almond fragrance. Also the almond from that like Elements collection or Essentials collection or whatever that was called a long time ago. Very similar to just that plain almond fragrance. That there's a slight perfumed sandalwood action mixed with that toasted coconut fragrance, that there's a slight body care vibe to it that I'm hoping maybe that'll come out a little bit more, so it's not just that plain singed hair toasted coconut growiness that we got, and something a little bit different, but we will have to see. But it is so immensely similar to that. If you missed Copper Coconut, has a similar vibe to that as well. So Santorini Coast right there. Yeah, it's like a very sweetened, nutty coconut is kind of what it is. Kind of basic coconut fragrance, to be honest. So that was that collection. And then moving on, we have the, so that was the, I think that there were only 4 in that collection. We covered all of them. Then there's like this collection, which had mostly repackages in it. It's like the tropical collection with the wraparound label on it, and that is the lid. It says Bronze Sunset, which is exotic coconut, island waves, and soft musk. This is $26.95. I already burned this one because I was super jazzed and excited for it last night when I got home. I love this. So Bronze Sunset was a hand soap that came out last year, and it pretty much smelled like Hibiscus Paradise in the hand soap. And this has a very similar Hibiscus Paradise type of feel to it, which is also very similar to Cocoa Paradise that is out now. It's that very traditional coconut plus solar floral blend that we get from Bath & Body Works. And I actually really have started to enjoy those. Very similar to like that In the Sun solar floral neroli orange blossom experience that we get, but you shoved coconut in it. It's similar to that, but this is not, however, Hibiscus Paradise or Cocoa Paradise. I think it is a new fragrance. The more I burn it, the more it reminds me of Fresh Lemon Waves, which was my baby last year. I absolutely loved it. It's kind of like if you took Fresh Lemon Waves, that same like kind of blossom, sort of sunscreen experience that you get with a little bit of a brightened citrus in there and like that floral component. But then like if you took Fresh Lemon Waves and shoved a coconut in there, that's kind of what this smells like. And it's kind of like if you took Fresh Lemon Waves, a coconut fragrance, and like their suntan, sunscreen, sun lotion type of fragrance, just merged all 3 together. That's kind of what this smells like. And I love it because I love all the suntan fragrances. I love Fresh Lemon Waves, and I've been really into coconut this season. So I was like, oh my God, give me all of that. And it was very strong when I was burning it last night. So we were good to go there. So that's what that looks like. Yeah, love it. Just very beachy, coconut, Fresh Lemon Waves, suntan, sunscreen experience all wrapped into one. If you like your Cocoa Paradise and Hibiscus Paradise and that type of stuff, then I would check this one out. Beachy, coconut, sunscreen vibes. Yeah. We then have Salted Grapefruit Shore. This was a friend pickup rather than me. And that's what that looks like right there. So you would think this is a new fragrance. And this says Salted Grapefruit, Green Ocean Leaves, and Bright Huckleberry. It has a thick rope-like wicks with like a light peach colored wax on there. This is totally, completely, yeah, oh my God, exactly it. Wild Huckleberry, which was a failed test fragrance from this collection right here. And juicy huckleberry, ripe black currant, and green leaves. So this one has green ocean leaves and this one has green leaves, and this one has juicy huckleberry and this one has bright huckleberry. So you can imagine like they're pretty much the same fragrance. The ILNs don't match on this, or like this is a new ILN because it's the first time it comes in peach colored wax with thick rope-like wick, so it doesn't compare, although this doesn't have an ILN and it's too old to look it up in the database. Yeah, it's just completely misleading because this is wild huckleberry and it smells like a very tart, like that very like piquant currant berry fragrance, like very traditionally like currant type of fragrance mixed with a sweet berry and like a green quality that you also get from currant is like so apparent in here. And so to go from that to then salted grapefruit shore, it's just like, I don't know, that's a really tough sell. I mean, I guess one could pick this up and be like, oh yeah, there's a zesty citrus to it because sort of like a tartness from the black currant and the berry kind of translates into like a zesty tartness of a grapefruit. But I was just hoping for something completely new or different from this, and this is just not it. I mean, it's not a bad fragrance. Like, I was super jazzed when I found this at a random SAS because it was a failed test scent, and I was like, ooh, this is very juicy and bright and awesome as a huckleberry fragrance. So if you've never experienced this fragrance, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a very bright, like juicy but tart berry and currant blend is basically what this is. And so you might enjoy it for that, but if you're like looking for some new, unique, like grapefruit shore experience, I don't really think so. Yeah. But the thing is, this is also so immensely similar, or rather the Land of Sweets / Sugared Pomegranate, which are the same fragrance. It came out in that like this lid collection at one point in like a pale pink jar, and then we just had Land of Sweets alongside Land of Snow in the winter collection. Very, 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 very similar to that. So it's just kind of like, how do they go from huckleberry to then pomegranate to like Land of Sweets, then to salted grapefruit shore? Like, hello, like, I hope you guys like realize like how crazy the marketing stretches with Bath & Body Works. So despite what the notes or the naming or mood says, it can still be the same fragrance and just be completely marketed as something else. So this is like a prime example of it going like through the ages. I mean, this was all the way back from 2017, and now we're presented with the same fragrance being salted grapefruit shore in 2023. But the one like positive or plus side of that is that there's still the potential for old, like forgotten test fragrances to still come out as something completely different in 2023. So that's the plus side there. So if you were jonesing for wild huckleberry and you were stocking it on eBay or Mercari for a really high price, you can get it here here soon. So that's salted grapefruit shore right there. The other ones in that collection were all repacks. Turquoise Waters, Warm Ocean Breeze, and Ocean Driftwood. Don't need that. Then there's a like basket weave collection, which was like there's Paradise Cove, aka flannel in there. I think Island Papaya, and then we have Palo Santo Vanilla right there, and that's what that looks like. And that's what that looks like. And yes, very recycled basket weave packaging we've had before. I hate this rounded corner rectangle like label in the center. It's just like along with the curved text and like the PowerPoint stock Microsoft Office fonts. I just can't deal with it. Oh my god, I absolutely hate that. Palo Santo, Woody Musk, and Tonka Bean. But I was very excited for this fragrance because like I've smelled Palo Santo for the longest time. It's been out for a while, but I never actually go and buy it for whatever reason. I'm just like, I don't know. And everyone says the throw is so light on it. I'm like, it's like kind of woodsy and smoky, and I enjoy that. But I'm like, I just wouldn't mind a little bit of extra something. And so they shoved vanilla in there, and I'm like, girl, I'm totally here for that. So yeah, yeah, I really enjoy this. This is such a fall into winter fragrance, though. It seems so weird for me to like burn it now because it's warm and sunny and hot where I'm at. Yeah, but I love it. It's that smoky Palo Santo woodsy smoky blend that you get mixed with vanilla. It's extremely reminiscent of Marshmallow Fireside in the interaction of the woodsy Fireside component with vanilla, but they're not the same fragrance. They differ in the sense that that's a lot more like very gourmand and marshmallowy, and there's just like a very like toasty coziness to it. This is toasty and cozy, but it's kind of like, think of a more fine fragrance, more home fragrance interpretation of that fragrance rather than it being so like almost, there's like almost like a cookie gourmandness to Marshmallow Fireside that I really enjoy. It's a little less gourmand, a little bit more like sophisticated woodsy, but very similar interaction. So if you like Marshmallow Fireside and want a more elevated version of it, this is very much that. It also, the way the woodsy and the vanilla play off of each other reminds me a whole lot of the way Vanilla Birch interacts with each other, the notes in Vanilla Birch, which is also very similar to Wine Cellar from Bath & Body Works. But if you like Vanilla Birch and want a little bit more of a creamy vanilla aspect, this is also similar to that as well. And I believe vanilla birch is very similar to the Henry Bendel vanilla bean fragrance, like to the point that sometimes I think they're repackages and then maybe they just took the vanilla bean from Henry Bendel and dropped it in as vanilla birch at Bath & Body Works. If you like that, then you might enjoy this as well by association. So yeah, Palo Santo vanilla. Excited for that, but just seems kind of seasonally inappropriate. And I think that covers the entire Spring 3 preview. Yes, so hope you enjoy this long whopping video. It was super fun to go to Atlanta and like do the trip and pick up all the candles. Although, ooh boy, was it a complete like just struggle trying to like, I think I had like 26 candles between like, I was picking up candles for a few people. And so like the struggle of carrying those crates like all by myself from the mall store all the way out to the like long parking lot was, oh my God, my arms and my shoulders are completely spent. I'm like so sore from that. And the travel associated with it is very long and grueling as well. But it was still very fun and it's just exciting to get the candles and then come back here and haul them. So I will start burning through these and start to do reviews. If you have any like super like dying to know reviews or priority lists, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you're excited for and make sure you check out part 2 of the like truly we believe test White Barn test neutral collection. So thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in part 2. Bye.